What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sarlacc Digest Podcast Presents Beyond the Pit, where, of course, we're a Star Wars show where there's Star Wars and there's everything else. And this is the everything else portion podcast. What we like to do is line talk it up and everything else that's not Star Wars, of course. I'm your host, Darth Moocher. I've got Scott Solo here with me.
What's up, nerds?
And I've got Grand Admiral Franz.
Hi.
Two guys that I plucked in here to talk about the announcement of DC Universe, or what's it called now?
I don't just pluck easily either.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to pluck, Chris, honestly. But
yeah, I don't.
Oh my god! So of course we're comic book fans. We're fans of Marvel and DC, but I think our group, especially with DC, right?
Yes.
And James Gunn dropped a bombshell. James Gunn, Warner Brothers, and the DC Universe dropped a bombshell. Something that we've been wanting and clamoring for a long time. Probably since the Dark Knight series, honestly. Something that where every DC movie or TV show or games comes out and it's the continuity is there. It's a glue. It's oh my god.
I think it was ever since. Honestly, to tie it back to Marvel, ever since Iron Man came out and they laid out this plan that they had, Marvel had a plan, and I'm like, oh, come on, God, DC's where it's at, man.
Yeah,
Superman, Batman,
yeah,
where's that plan? And
I've
then
said
DC comes out and says, we don't have a plan.
Here's four
different times.
Yeah. Like DC was just a bunch of like throwing up stuff. Here's a movie. Here's a series that they mention this and we'll speed brush this with nobody talking. It seemed like nobody was talking to each other, and it showed in the movies because, as much as I love like the Joker that came out, I love the Dark Knight series, and I love like some of the Justice League stuff. It just didn't feel like a cohesive universe, even though they tried like same actors and all that stuff. It just didn't connect well. Like I've always said that Marvel and Star Wars, they spoiled us when it comes to that. Marvel spoiled us with the 22 movies that they did, the 10-year plan. It all came to a big head at the fruition, a big battle, whatever it was, love it or hate it. They had the right formula. And then with Disney Plus, tacking on stuff going into other phases, it's just a fun, adventurous thing to bring your comic books to life. And Star Wars being the canon, and when Disney reset it fit. Everything works. It's working. It just feels so good. What was missing? DC, the third faction of pop culture. You know what I mean? Superman, Batman. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And now they're getting the Star Wars treatment. They're getting the Marvel treatment. And I personally am thrilled because the comic books, in my opinion, I don't read all the DC comic books, but I've mostly read DC. They become so convoluted to where now everything's short stories and short segments that cool. But you're done in a day reading it. You're done collecting in 4 issues. And it goes on to this other world, like Batman did this. Okay, Batman did this, and nothing blended, right? So I'm so happy that we got this kind of announcement. So, I mean,
personally, the first comic book I ever read was G.I. Joe, but the first superhero comic I ever had in my hand was an issue of The Flash. Mm-hmm. And in that issue of The Flash, you had an appearance of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Flash and like Super Friends. And that just kind of sent me off on this tangent. And that was back in 1984. So I started reading DC Comics in 84, and I did not stop reading DC Comics until I want to say about during the pandemic, whenever my comic shop shut down. That's from 84 to 2020. I devoured DC Comics.
Yeah.
And Marvel was just the other comic company. I'd grab a comic here or there, especially whenever the movies started happening. I started really digesting like Captain America stories and all that, and putting all that in the storage bank. So
same.
But man, this plan's got me.
It does. Let's
Well,
let's
see,
put up
I've always just been a DC guy. I don't know what it is about Marvel, but I don't know if it's. I've always dug the art, the stories, and everything else in DC. When I open a Marvel book, it just doesn't feel, and I feel like it should be more, but it's not. Like it doesn't feel right. And when I'm reading it, maybe because it's built more in our universe again, right?
Yeah.
Like Marvel is at New York and San Francisco and all this stuff, right? When you go to Gotham and Metropolis and Central City and Atlantis and Themyscira,
Keystone City,
you're out of your
Coast
fantasy,
City.
your fantasy still, and that's cool. So it can put you in a state of disbelief.
No, I've always said that, like gravitating towards DC characters because they're a little bit more gutsy, a little more adult oriented. You know what I mean? They were, especially like Batman's my favorite DC world. Like the villains make that world, just like Superman's villains make his world. And I've always just appreciated the more, I don't know, closer to R rating than what Batman does, than anything Marvel ever did. You know what I mean?
Well,
so they're just darker characters and more fleshed out characters. Yeah,
exactly. DC Comics has, and not only that, but DC has a weight to it. It's got a history to it that some of the characters go all the way back to, that you could trace their continuity back to the ancient Egyptians. And that all works in their current continuity. And they had this integrated continuity through, up until the New 52. They had this integrated continuity that just flowed from the 1930s, from ancient Egypt up to, the present day. And it was also the comic line where, they had the mild cussing in there, they had damn and hell and all that, where Marvel didn't. Marvel stayed away from that completely, but DC, they had that little bit of an edge to them.
Yeah.
And
this is why this is so important to us. What's going on now. I mean, we've been doing the Star Wars podcast for 6 years now. It's coming up to 6 years. And I remember the first time we started talking, we start to, because, what we do is we bring up movies that come out in Marvel or Walking Dead or DC, whatever. And we've always kind of like, I saw that movie and it sucks that, the next 5 DC movies aren't going to be connected, or they're loosely connected, and it's just not that important. We were talking about like, let Warner Brothers sell it off. Let's Disney take over DC. I mean, all that stuff. To me, it's all out the window now because of what James Gunn has committed to, along with Warner Brothers and all that, right?
But do you think, now you mentioned a minute ago, we're spoiled by Star Wars and by Marvel, right? Yeah. Don't you think there's a point where we probably could have been okay with a bunch of standalone DC if they were just better? Yeah. Right? We talk a lot about their animated stuff. That stuff's all standalone, the really good stuff. Right, it started losing the animated stuff when they tried to start connecting them into the New 52 shit. Right. Yeah. That's when that part. But when they were doing the Red Hood, I always go back to that one. That's still one of my favorite all around movies. Yeah. If they would have done that live action standalone, I'm totally cool. No background at all. They do plenty in there, right? You do things like that. You do you just adapt some of the graphic novels into movies standalone. I'm cool with that. Yeah. They don't have to interconnect necessarily. They could be standalone. Different actors even.
Yeah. Something that Marvel did recently was with Spider-Man. They didn't do his origin story. And I think that is something that DC needs to take on. I don't think you need necessarily to have an origin story for Batman again, or Superman. You get it, Right. Yeah. I think if they cut out, or maybe just do it in a quick flash, here's this. I mean, the 1979 Superman movie did it perfectly in the first 5 minutes. Yeah, you had the basis for the entire.
It was like
story.
A montage kind of deal.
Yeah,
it was fantastic. Yeah,
and caught you right the hell up.
It did. Yeah, it was awesome. Exactly. I like being thrust into a ready-made story, and that it's simple enough to understand the origins. Like Spider-Man did the perfect. Like you said, the Superman. We don't need Clark Kent coming back.
Cultural icons, though.
Yeah,
like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
Now, there are some that we do need. Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Beetle.
100%.
Oh yeah,
Supergirl. This sounds really promising, right?
It does.
Scott, we caught you in a thought there. Where were you going?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have no idea, so don't even worry about it. And
that train's left the station.
The train has left the station. Man. Yeah.
But that kind of gets us into the slate, though, because you were talking about the origins, and I think that's really important to get into when James Gunn talked about the slate. If you didn't see his video, there's a good video online where he posted today and went through basically what's coming up, including the stuff that's already in the pipe, and then stuff that they're going into what's called Chapter 1. Gods and Monsters.
Gods and Monsters,
which just is that doesn't give you chills already, right?
So yeah,
that's
chapter
DC.
1 just alone. That's DC, right there.
Gods and Monsters. And that's the difference between that and Marvel. They may talk about it, but you feel it. I'm like, yeah.
The smartest thing doing this right now was twofold. Everything prior is called DC Elseworlds, meaning it's just like Star Wars EU.
Yeah,
it's still watchable. It's still got these things, and they're using some of the same actors moving forward.
Well, even like the Batman 2 with Pattinson and Joker, those are still Elseworlds, even though they're going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you're gonna have, like I said, you have the DCU, and then you have Elseworlds, and the trend. How James Gunn talked about the transition to this point. It's not just like, okay, here's the movie, and from this point on, no, 2 movies are the most important. He said. One was Shazam and Flash. So Flash is still a movie, and basically it's the one that's restarting the entire DC universe. But he says Shazam is also important to usher in this DCU continuity.
Well,
but
it was like it was leading in, like Shazam was leading into Flash.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Flash is the movie that's resetting the timeline.
Right.
And then
Blue Beetle after, which is kind of unconnected to it, but can be connected because we know something else is coming up later.
Right. And the 8 to 10 year plan too, I get goosebumps too, because it's like,
and this isn't the, mind you, the slate that they're announcing here, I don't think this isn't 10 years, because they're saying there's going to be 4 things every year, 2 movies and 2 shows every year.
Yeah.
So I mean, starting in 2025.
Yeah.
So if we're doing it by that math, if they keep that, that's only a 3-year plan.
Yeah. So this is part 1, chapter 1. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like chapter 1 is 10 projects slated,
and only part of chapter 1.
And only part of chapter 1, because James Gunn said movies, theatrical releases, TV shows, and video games, and that's what I like. Animated. Okay, and animated, of course. Well, the most of the TV shows are animated. I think there's
just Creature Commandos.
Yeah, wasn't okay. Oh, okay, yeah, because the other one was a movie. So look, so we got our base. So bring up the slate here. We got a visual here on the slate with James Gunn here. Yeah, so like James Gunn announcing the slate, which I'm going to pull up right here. And so we can go over this real fast. And I think this is awesome because this isn't the entire thing, like he's mentioned, right? Chapter 1. Gods and Monsters. I absolutely love it.
Chills.
Starting off, and we talked about this in our chat. Like we did like when Chris said, "Hey, the DC's announcing something today." We pulled in our chat about like our predictions, right? And I think we put in like there's got to. I just put Superman Origins, Batman, thrust right into a story, all that stuff. A Green Lantern, which those 3 are in here, which is great. But let's just go through this right
everything
here.
Besides that is pretty much a surprise.
Yeah.
Or at least different than a little bit different than expected. Yeah.
This is what excites me, Chris. Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
Okay, putting like a title on that, like a Superman, it doesn't seem like there's an origin. Like Scott mentioned, maybe we'll have snippets of origin in there and going back and forth about what he's been doing on Earth.
He said it's not for sure. He said it's him dealing with the conflict between being his Earth self and his Kryptonian self on Earth, and a young Superman, but not a Clark becoming Superman. He's already Superman.
Yes, thrust right into the movie, or right into his storyline.
Yeah.
Something that he did say is, and this was in a quote in an interview. It was Superman is the embodiment of truth, justice, in the American way.
Sure, his
kindness is in a world that thinks kindness is old fashioned, and that's kind of one of the conflicts here, and that he seems to get Superman on a level that the last couple of creators have not gotten Superman.
Yeah,
they've tried to bend Superman to our current environment, to our current world, instead of taking what makes Superman and putting him in this world.
I always kind of thought they were doing the like the Superman's ultimate weakness. I mean, to kind of go a little bit deep, it's always been to protect the protection and love of others. Like
Lois specifically.
Yeah, exactly. But and I do think that they everybody in the past has gotten that part of it right, but the villains and the environment was weird.
I just think the morality of Superman is what he's talking about, right, Scott?
Yeah.
I mean, more like he's still living in an old school, God bless America type way. And what everybody's been changing is he's going to be more of this dark, jaded type world we live in the 2020s.
Yeah, Superman in the last couple of movies, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League, all that, he was a Superman who had been beaten down. I mean, he was a Superman that needed more therapy than anything else. And I want to say it makes sense for the time we're in, but Superman isn't from the time we're in. Superman is something above that. Superman is what we should aspire to be. Yeah. Superman shouldn't be one of us trying to be better. Superman should be better, and we should be trying to aspire to be Superman.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or does that sound a little...
No, 100%.
That's exactly
100%. Right. And that's the subplot of all Superman comics and everything, right? That morality that he has, his drive to protect Earth. Right. Beyond that, I'm curious to see what's the fantasy part about this? Who's the villains in this? Who's good? What's the ultimate danger going on? Not the slate, but this movie particularly. You know what I mean? Not like Brainiac or Darkseid coming. I'm talking about how is this movie going to be the fantasy Superman? Because I think we talked about this too. How sometimes superhero movies, especially DC, try to be too grounded in Earth and try to make it make sense. I'm like, sometimes you just go with fantasy. Just they fly with capes, they have tights, and they fly around and they do things. And
it works for Thor.
I mean, there's ways of doing it. I think Marvel does a very good way of bringing it a little bit grounded, but at the same time being over the top comic booky. And I think that's where they need to bring to DC. When you have for example, Wonder Woman, which is a great movie. I didn't think it was that great, but it was good, but it was still too earthly and grounded and not flashy. And it was just I don't want it to make sense. You know what I mean?
You need more fantastical.
I want comic book. Yeah. So I'm hoping that the direction is going that way. And James Gunn seems to be the perfect person to have that kind of vision.
I'm so glad he has Superman. Out of all these things, I'm glad he has Superman. I think he's going to nail it, and it's going to be cool. But as far as villains go, you gotta hope they stay away from Lex, and they gotta stay right. Yeah. I mean, Lex can be in the movie somewhere. He can be there, but he can't be the nemesis, right? He can exist in the world because you kind of have to have him. Yeah. But Zod, I don't want to see Zod again. I actually think. Did you guys see the spoilers about Flash? I'm going to tell you anyway. Do you want to hear? Go ahead. Zod. There's a Zod pop for Flash.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So Michael Shannon apparently is back as Zod again. So
really?
I don't know if that would with Flash resetting, but knowing they're going to keep certain aspects, I don't know if that would fall into here being the first movie. I hope not. I hope we're done with Zod after Flash.
Right. Well, remember, Flash is supposed to reset everything, so it makes sense that they would use old and then bring in new.
But there's still going to be some.
It's the multiverse.
Yeah, because Waller's part of this already existing universe.
Yes.
So
yes.
So, but anyway, so I would hope somebody, like you said, comical. The thing is, Brainiac's too big for the first movie.
Yeah.
Right. Wouldn't he have to be more of a big bad?
I think Brainiac would be he would be the monster in the part of the Gods and the Monsters title that we're going to. He would be behind whatever it is that Hal and John are finding out in space in their thing. That's because I'm sitting here looking at Gods and Monsters. There was an old DC animated movie called Gods and Monsters, and I was like, is this where we're going? But I don't think this is where we're going with Vampire Batman and Zod as Superman and all that. I don't think we're going there.
Yeah.
But Gods and Monsters, I'm sitting here looking at the slate going, okay, with my DC knowledge, what would the tie-in be? And the only thing I could think of that would work that's not somebody we've already seen that's big enough to take on everybody would be Brainiac.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, wouldn't that be quick to bring him in already in movie one without maybe a hint? but not as the big bad yet.
Yeah, not the Superman movie. I think is the big bad though.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100% agree. But since Superman's kicking it off, and I hope not Lex, I hope not Zod. Brainiac's too big. That leaves us with a couple. But I mean, where would we, if we're going comic booky? Is Bizarro kind of in that world? Do you go? I mean, what else? What else would you pull? Shit.
Well, not like Toyman or anything like that.
I mean, I could see him doing Mr. Mixoplick, right? James Gunn doing that.
Yeah, Toyman would be interesting. I mean,
Toyman would be interesting, but
because I
think he's a little too serial killerish. It's like we just did that with the Riddler.
Yeah,
you know, I don't think we would go there. God, what are some of his other? Maybe you know what? Do you think it's possibly? Do you think it's possible that they? I mean, Parasite would be cool, but do you think it's possible they could go to? Because we are looking at Gods and Monsters.
Well, Parasite's a monster. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but the Gods and Monsters, but the gods in DC Universe are the new gods. It's Darkseid, it's Orion, it's Highfather. It's. Do you think he could possibly be going up against the new gods? And maybe that's something that they could, not necessarily a villain, but some like the misunderstood Batman v Superman kind of thing.
Maybe because I'm interpreting Gods and Monsters as God is Superman, Wonder Woman,
right.
Even Batman, like the Justice League or the gods,
right?
And
I was taking it to the new gods.
Yeah, that's neat. I suppose it could, but God, that even feels early for that too. But I guess if you're going to do it, it does. I mean, I would see maybe
imagine if Orion shows up though, because Orion is like, you know, Darkseid's son, who's raised by Highfather, the new gods. I mean, he's the most misunderstood of the new gods and the most volatile. I could totally see Orion showing up and giving Superman a run for his money. You know,
is that cool enough for the first movie?
Well, that's what I was just going to ask. That's what I was just going to ask. I think what we're saying here is that the first Superman movie should be a standalone Superman movie with a hint.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Brainiac robots show up.
Yeah.
On Earth,
I like that.
Superman takes out the Brainiac robots, not knowing that there is a physical Coluan Brainiac out there pulling the strings out in the galaxy.
That's what the Avengers was, right? Loki brought in the.
Just gonna say that. Then we catch that shit, right? Because then it's just being derivative of MCU.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I'm okay. So I'm gonna say
but I like that.
then I say we either go magic. Right?
Yeah.
That would be so goofy to do.
And it would work with Swamp Thing.
Well, let's bring in
Swamp
Bizarro
then.
then.
You're right.
Well, let's bring in Bizarro as the like that'd be kind of cool. I think
I would love an actual Bizarro.
I don't know, man. So Bizarro is one of those characters that he is so easy to make just goofy and stupid because I mean everything he does is me and Bizarro have a terrible day. You know, which really means have a great day.
Bizarro. Right? I mean, I am Groot. It's in there.
God,
do you think they would treat Bizarro as a ultimate villain or one of those sympathized villains where he's like, you know,
definitely sympathetic villain.
Yeah, by the end he go back home.
Yeah, exactly. I think it'd be cool to have him in there. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have him in there. But yeah, I think we're looking at this like the mistake of my opinion, the mistake of the DC Elseworlds, now we're calling that as the official name, was the fact that they brought in the big danger bad right off the bat. And it was just like, here's Darkseid, he's taking over all these worlds and Justice League is formed. And because they have a dossier on these guys and Batman formed him. And it was just like a weird, like just a cluster of information and 2 movies to settle the conflict. You know what I mean? They never really drug it out for 10 years. And I think when James Gunn was doing his speech, he was saying that, look, not all these movies are going to have this overarching villainous thing. There's some more like Swamp Thing I think is a standalone, but also, you know, could appear here and there, but he's not the ultimate importance of
it'll link to the story. They'll be in the same universe.
Yeah, right? 100. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they don't all have to interconnect. And
so treat Superman like Iron Man 1.
And they also don't have to. He said they're not all traditional. There's a villain in the show.
Right.
So let's just take for example Brave and the Bold. there doesn't necessarily need to be a villain besides the fight between Batman and Damian, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Why I said Batman. Scott and I talked a minute ago about they were he was very specific in talking about just Batman. But yeah,
I have a couple of ideas.
Yeah. But so go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say other villains. I mean, because you said Mr. Mix, I can't even say Mxyzptlk. I can't even say that goddamn name. Metallo is an interesting one.
Oh yeah,
I'd forgotten about Metallo with the Heart of Kryptonite.
Yeah,
that could be interesting. Toyman is more of a serial killer. You got Parasite though. Parasite and
he has a thing. He did in
I like Metallo.
In the Suicide Squad. He had Lady Mongol. Right, so Mongol.
He did,
and she was what part of the first squad that got blasted up.
Oh shit. Okay.
She was in that.
Mongol, so Mongol being in there would be all right.
Mongol's huge. Yeah,
that would be cool.
I just got that toy too. He's huge. It's awesome. Yeah.
Destroyer of Coast City.
So I mean that would be all right. Those there's a couple good options there. I think they should go big like that though, right?
Yeah.
Mongol, Parasite, Mxyzptlk, blah blah. Right, something like that. That's
Legion of Doom. Just get the
Legion of Doom.
Oh my god!
Let's just do it. Yeah.
Let's do it. They were finally kind of starting to get that we're talking about right there in the end of Zack Snyder's, but fucking just do it. Oh, sorry, but just do it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, in the swamp, dude. He would
Darth Vader helmet headquarters. Heck yeah.
Let's do it, man.
Yes.
I'm with. Like I said, do
Solomon
all or nothing,
Grundy.
man.
Ooh, that's cool. That's cool. Because that could tie right into Swamp Thing.
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, I can live action.
I think we're getting all of it.
Live action Grundy needs to happen in this. We're talking about monsters. There's no doubt.
I honestly think we're getting all of it, guys. And here's the thing too. I don't think James Gunn would shy away from Darkseid. Darkseid's too much of an awesome villain and an awesome character, and it's such a dangerous character to bring in. I don't think we can overlook that. So,
but he's the 8 to 10 year payoff.
Yes. As the umbrella villain of all villains, you know what I mean?
They're gonna play that just like Thanos. There's no way to get around that. Yeah,
and I love that, and I'm cool with that.
Think about Brainiac, though, man.
Brainiac could do that too.
Brainiac could be it, because Brainiac is also the one that stole Kandor, the Kryptonian city.
Yes.
He's going around collecting cities from doomed civilizations. And I remember that one story in DC where he comes to Earth to collect Metropolis.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
All right.
That's how you get Green Lantern.
Forget Darkseid. It's full Brainiac.
I'm in.
The whole thing. So.
I'm in. Yeah, Darkseid actually will be the midway point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll be the first one. He'll be like Thanos and then Kang. Right. That's what we're doing here. That'll be boom boom.
Yeah. Would you guys take Darkseid as the villain of Superman then? But not ultimately defeat him, but in there, but nothing like Darkseid and Superman go at it, but then Darkseid's not the galaxy taker over like Brainiac one is going to be in this kind of thing. I don't know.
Darkseid is the galaxy taker over guy, but Darkseid
but in this
versus Superman is like the final battle of the final movie in whatever this is. That would be the big knockdown drag out fight. Superman versus Darkseid.
I'm thinking like,
or do we play it like a comic book or like Justice League Unlimited type stuff where Superman just keeps beating him back over and over, a recurring thing until Darkseid gets to the point where he's strong enough and has enough behind him, and then it's okay, now remember that episode, like the best episode ever of Justice League Unlimited, when Superman gets totally pissed off, done with Darkseid, and says, "For years I've held back." Yes. Right? Because if I let loose, I'm afraid of who I could hurt.
I'm not afraid anymore.
I'm not afraid. Oh man, if you could see, if I could see that in live action at some point, I would lose it, because that was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Cool. Battle one of many. You know what I mean? Like Battle one.
Yeah,
and I think the legacy would be awesome.
They should, if they're gonna do this thing and let it last a couple years. These villains can't just keep going away. They can't get dying. Of them. Yeah, they can't do that. They can't get better, and they can't die. They've got to recur, and then they build the Justice League or Legion of Doom.
Yeah,
not the Injustice League, the Legion of Doom.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think outside the box a little bit when it comes to this kind of stuff, because again, we've been going through DC movies and stuff, and it's just kind of like more of the same, or just plain Jane kind of stuff. And kind of going off to the Brave and the Bold, the Batman movie, Batman and Robin, Damian Wayne, like father and son Batman here. You guys brought up an interesting point that had me kind of thinking, like, if the movie is their conflict or their, because I think James Gunn even said it, is bringing him in the fold, bringing his son in the fold, right?
Right, and it's all based on the Grant Morrison comic that came out.
Right. I've got to refresh on that. I have to refresh more on that. Like,
what's really,
I think you really do.
There's some good stuff. Damian's my favorite Robin, really.
Yeah,
I love. Okay, hold on. I love Grayson.
Right.
I love Grayson as Nightwing.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say, and that's what we're probably going to get. Right, for a second, because in that book, he was very specific when he said Damian over and over. He didn't keep saying Robin. He said Damian.
Right. He did.
But then he said the son of Bruce Wayne.
Son of Bruce, but then he kept saying him and Batman are dealing with their issues. He didn't say him and Bruce are dealing with their issues. If Dick is Batman in this, I'm going to lose my shit. That would be awesome. To jump right into a point where you're that far into Batman's story, where Dick is already to beyond Nightwing and he's acting as Batman, right, with Batman's son. You're kidding me if you're following all that kind of stuff.
I know James Gunn has the balls to do really cool shit, but I don't think he's got the balls to completely get rid of Batman or Bruce Wayne, or put Bruce Wayne in the sideline. I don't think he's brave enough in the Brave and the Bold to do that. I want it though. I really do.
But I was like, why not? I mean,
Batman.
At this point,
it goes back to that
Batman
origin
movie
thing.
I get it.
Origin thing where you're going to have to explain what happened, explain.
You can play that out. They could do another montage the shit out of this stuff, right? And explain that, and they play the Bane issue, the Bane thing, that just happened, and now Bruce is out of commission, and they kind of changes the story a bit, right?
Okay, instead of Jean-Paul Valley, you get
it would just make more sense, I think, to the people, right?
I agree.
Bane's interesting too. Yeah, go ahead.
But use it as a flashback, and it kind of links everything and get you caught up. And then boom, Dick is and that's something we've never seen, but everybody would understand. I think.
But Marco just said something that made me think. There, what if that's it? Damian is going after Bane to assassinate Bane for taking out Bruce, and it's Dick Grayson trying to pull him back. And
I think
so good.
We know the Bane. Right? Well, we kind of know because David Bautista said no to playing Bane, and so we know that James Gunn's been approaching.
Everybody says no to whatever. You know what?
Yeah,
come on.
Of course, I would love David Bautista to play Bane, but the fact that Bane would be considered as this storyline puts it in perspective for us.
I love that.
Right? It's like,
that's cool. It's hard. It's hard, really. I love Batman. You can do Batman in so many ways. You can do him campy. You can do him dark. You can do so many cool things.
Chris, I was gonna say I have about 30 spin-offs of Batman, and they're all epic. Yeah. All of them epic. Every single one, and they're standalone, and they retell the story of Batman every single time, and it's amazing. I was like, just pick one and put it to movie, and I'd be happy with it. So I'm like,
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. I have, I've been collecting Batman comics since Batman since '88. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I am so damn tired of Bruce Wayne and his crap. It's the same recycle. It's the same recycled story over and over and over and over and over again. I want something new. I want to see Batman as something we've never seen before. Even whiny Pattinson Batman that we just had in that movie, it's still Bruce Wayne. I mean, we got to see him be a little more hopeful, which was nice.
Yeah.
But I want to see character development in Batman. I want to see him do something new. And I think to do that, you don't have to, but I think a cool way to do that would be to take Bruce Wayne out of the equation.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be, dude. I'd flip my shit. That's the coolest thing possible.
Like I said,
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it and knowing they're going to pull a Star Wars here, and they're not anywhere near doing that.
Oh no! And you said gutsy to do a Batman movie without Bruce Wayne would be amazing for everybody, because like I said, most of those graphic novels and stuff that I have Bruce Wayne is just a mention. He's not a character in, those books. There's Batman and his repercussions and the way he basically destroys the world every single time, and it's amazing. It's amazing every time.
It's
not about
taking Bruce Wayne. Take Bruce Wayne out of the equation. That's why we haven't had a Batman Beyond movie yet, because we could have had a Batman Beyond movie.
That would be awesome. Yes,
it would be.
That can come.
It
later.
could. It could.
Yeah.
But it just goes to the point where nobody's had the balls yet to make a Batman movie without Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. This is why we wanted this shakeup, and this is why James Gunn is. I think you cannot stay the course. So get in there, get in with your writers, come up with a plan, and go balls out. That's why I'm saying more fantasy over grounded reality on, especially like this stuff. Like, don't play it safe. Don't play it that safe. Legion of Doom, Swamp Thing. Come on, let's do it. Like, let's get into the campiness of comic books into the DC world, right? Everything doesn't have to be grounded.
Could you imagine if they went campy Batman for Brave and the Bold? Like super colorful, and like the intro started out with the 60s Batman theme.
Well, let's not go Schumacher. Let's not go Schumacher crazy, right? Let's
no, like crazier. I'm talking 60s, like Adam West campy. Like they go straight.
Jump the shark.
No. Yeah, and that's the montage in the beginning. Or you know what I would actually like if they took that song and slowed it down and did a montage. That would be cool.
Hans Zimmer that shit, man. Have a bong in there at some point.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
Why not? They did it with Spider-Man every 2 seconds, right? They had the theme song, actual theme song, and playing the background, that elevator music with it. I mean, they did it. So why
the people in the subway singing it.
There's a danger. So when I'm saying, like, bring it a little more comic booky, I'm not talking Schumacher. Batman. Let's not do that.
But no, there is a certain thing where it takes balls to do stuff. I just think I think we might actually get. Maybe it's just because of that comic and the covers and everything, are really bright and colorful. Maybe I'm just getting and it's the Brave and the Bold to me feels like it's going to be not this dark ass Batman we always get. Like, we're going to see a bit more color in it, and maybe have more of the blue outfit and the Robin colors. Yeah,
I think the conflict is going to be Batman and Robin. I think that's the conflict between this movie. I don't think we're going to like to me, Superman, we might get into like villain versus Superman, do all that stuff, but I think Batman, the Brave and the Bold, is going to be this conflict between his team.
Batman and Robin, because I like Scott's thing, because he's your thing that it's going after whoever hurt or took Bruce out of commission. I think that's it. He's going after his dad, and he's going to be mad at Dick for not wanting to go after him. That whole storyline, right?
And that could be the first 10-15 minutes of the movie is Bruce Wayne versus Bane, and you see the crack, and Damian's just off camera going, no, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
let's do it.
Dude, come on.
Let's do it.
Too good.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about Supergirl?
Pumped, actually.
Yeah. After his explanation, I was like, bring it on.
I dig it.
I enjoy the Supergirl TV show, and I'm glad that this is something different. They're not going the same route. They're going with a darker. And this one makes sense to me, being dark. Not Superman, but Supergirl. What did he say? She's 14 years old. She's been on a sliver of Krypton for 14 years, watching people die and fighting off alien or something like that. Man, that's
different attitude. I like that. Like,
so
she'll based actually on a Tom King comic.
So she'll kind of be, I bet, more the villain type of character in this coming to Earth, right?
I could see that.
She'll be the invader.
And
then Superman will get involved. This is where we start crossing over stuff. Superman's going to have to be the one to bring her in and realize, that's going to have to connect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Superman will be her moral compass, and she'll be, this is an alien civilization on Earth, and
they'll do their thing, but she'll be her own. She'll probably either take off, do her own thing, whatever she's going to do, but they're going to have to, that'll be the battle. There'll be no talk about Bizarro or anything else there.
I think this is the image that he brought up whenever they were explaining Supergirl.
Pretty cool, huh?
And that, to me, that tells such a story right there. I mean, there's so much happening in that image. I want.
She's bloodied. The sword is bloodied. Let's go for it.
I'm going to end up picking that up. I gotta
I have to. Yeah, I'm gonna be. I've got DC the app. I'm gonna download this and see what that's all about. Tom King's a pretty damn good writer too. So I can only imagine that it's gonna be something else. So
yeah. Hey, different is good.
Yeah,
looks like you need like
I agree.
Like a eighth of mushrooms to read it though. You look at all that stuff in the background.
Exactly. That's yeah. Let's bring it.
So that kind of brings us though to the Authority, and I gotta say, I know as far as DC goes, I know nothing about the Authority other than you've got Midnighter, who is like the Batman of Wildstorm, and that's all I know.
You know, I did read Wildstorm back in the day, but I don't remember it, dude. I really don't. And here's the thing, though. I'll be pleasantly surprised, hopefully, because Guardians of the Galaxy I knew nothing about, and I absolutely love them. So I'm hoping that this kind of, you know, like with Creature Commandos and the Authority, I'm hoping
exactly right. I was saying the same thing. Those are going to be our Suicide Squad and Guardians.
Yeah, let's go for it. Like, yeah.
Especially since Creature Commandos, the animated series, is supposed to actually have was it the Weasel from Peacemaker?
Oh,
that's what it looked like. I didn't know if it was the
that's
same.
What they said.
Cool.
Weasel
this guy's a werewolf? What he
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and I think that is a still from the animation. So you've got Frankenstein, you've got the Bride of Frankenstein, which that's awesome, man. And
I just got the Frankenstein figure too.
Nice. But Rick Flag Sr. instead of Rick Flag from the Suicide Squad, that's Rick Flag Sr. on the far left right there. Yeah. So that's
and didn't he say this and Waller is going to be like this tie-in between the two? Like some of these are going to be live action.
She said Waller will be she'll be working with the Peacemaker crew.
Right.
And they were all going to kind of mix in everything.
Because he did mention, James Gunn mentioned that the animated voice actors, they want to get them in live action as playing their character. Yep. You know, Bo-Katan for the Star Wars, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Which is great. And I'm like, that's cool, because then that means that there's the direct tie-in between the animated and live action.
It's all cohesive. It's just faster to get stories out. You can
love it, dude.
Stuff in animation you can't pull in live action.
I want this kind of stuff too. In Slate 1, in the first chapter, I want stuff that I'm not familiar with. You know, like even Suicide, I wasn't that familiar with when the first movie came out and stuff. But now I'm like, this is cool, right? So the Guardians treatment. You know, I want stuff that's not familiar to us now, and then brings it and ties it in with the statues, the Wonder Womans, the Batmans, you know, and that kind of stuff. Because
I used to be pretty close-minded about that kind of stuff, right? But I mean, Guardians helped me out with that. After that, then I watched Doom Patrol, and that wouldn't have been something I'd have watched before, and I like Doom Patrol a lot.
See, the thing is, if you do something like, if you do that in like Chapter 3, DCU Chapter 3, and you bring in these obscure things, everybody gets a lot. Marvel's doing it right now. Okay, Marvel's doing that right now, where they became way obscure that like nobody cares. I'm just saying that in general, but like it's hurting it.
That's the problem though, is they started off so big that whenever they decided to go with these smaller projects, nobody gives a damn anymore.
Yeah, put them in the mix with the bigger ones, you know, and make them grow.
Exactly. Or start off with some of the smaller ones, lead up to the big stuff. Don't blow your wad all at once, man. It's
No, I agree. I want to save the lanterns for last, because that's your guys' cup of tea, and I'm all in, 100% in. But I'll save that for last for you guys. So, Paradise Lost though, that's the Wonder Woman.
Swamp Thing first, right?
Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing. I'm excited for Swamp Thing, and 2 reasons. I like Swamp Thing. I'm a fan, but also what James Gunn was kind of saying, it's a standalone with the references to the bigger picture. Like you said, like there'll be crossovers, there'll be characters, but it's basically a standalone movie, which I love. I think that deserves it. You know what I mean? And I do think that this movie is Swamp Thing. There'll probably be a 2 and a 3 moving on forward, or he becomes part of the bigger picture later on.
It's Charles. Oh, you're New 52. Charles Soule wrote that one.
It is Charles Soule.
Yeah. Who does the Vader stuff?
The thing I love about Swamp Thing is straight up horror. Even back in the 70s, in the 60s, or I think the 70s, in the 80s, it was a straight up horror comic. It was right there with John Constantine.
Vicious.
As a matter of fact, John Constantine debuted in a Swamp Thing issue.
Okay.
It's really, pardon the pun, rooted in horror. Okay. So, and he's also, later on, he's like the Earth Elemental, which opens up the door to Firestorm and all these other characters that there's so many different directions they could go into with these particular characters. But starting off straight up horror like this, I love it.
You guys remember the 80s movie of Swamp Thing? Was it in the 80s? That movie's great.
Alec Holland, man.
Yeah.
I hope this runs into finally the Justice League Dark live action stuff. Those are two of my favorite animated films too.
Yeah, I kind of like that there was no mention of Justice League in this kind of slate yet, right? Unless you save that for a surprise. Right?
We've got the authority, so if you've already got the Justice League light, you don't need to bring in the heavy hitters just yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I like it.
Yeah, or I think in Swamp Thing, if it'd be, here I go with this theory craft now. Swamp Thing, the end of Swamp Thing, they're building the Legion of Doom in his swamp.
Oh, why not?
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Or you see their headquarters. You see their headquarters in the swamp, and you see the swamp start to move around it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want it so bad.
Like I said, it's. I always have this problem. Like people go like, "Oh, they can't make a good Ninja Turtles movie or a He-Man." I'm like, "You're not supposed to." And look at them. They're like, these are cartoon. These are fantasy beyond fantasy.
And that's what'll make it better, dude. And
exactly. It will, dude. I'm telling you.
To go off on a tangent here for a second. Everybody does. You were clowning the Schumacher. Batmans, right? I love those. I love those because they're
true comic book movies.
Yes, when you watch those, man, the colors, the frames. When you're watching, I'm like, and you really watch the show, you're like, man, I could put this in a comic book and I could see the frames happening in my head. They're really the most.
My problem with those movies aren't the visuals; it was the characters and acting, and I did not like.
I didn't dig the Age of Robin and Batgirl.
No,
or the actors. I
couldn't stand Batwoman.
But everything else, man, I dug. I
love
the
this
villains
movie.
even.
I pulled this. No, I pulled this image up right here. This is from I want to say it was 2018, 2019 Swamp Thing TV series.
That's right. They had a TV series. I never saw it, but yeah.
It was. We didn't finish it because it was on. They played on CW with like a severely edited because it was violence. There was language in it. It belonged on HBO Max.
Yeah.
But the story, it was a murder mystery and there were monsters and demons. It was really good. So highly recommend if anybody's unfamiliar with Swamp Thing, check out this. I think it's probably on HBO Max still. I don't know if it's been pulled down yet, but it was really well done. And if it's anything like that, then I'm in.
Do you guys think they'll go edgy with some of these projects?
Yes.
Like
I think so.
HBO Max edgy. No, I'm not talking Game of Thrones. I'm saying
he's already got Peacemaker in the can. Waller's going to be the same type of thing.
Waller's going to be the same type of thing. I fear for Lanterns because hearing that Lanterns is going to be a TV series and knowing that that's going to be on HBO Max, I saw what they did with Teen Titans.
Oh,
and in Dick Grayson's first appearance, whenever he says "fuck Batman," I'm like, oh, come on.
But context. It's in all, he was just done with it all. Fuck him.
This is pre James Gunn though.
It changes later.
My thing is too. It's like this is supposed to be the all cohesive thing going on, and if they have edge like real like Peacemaker shows in the slate, that's part of the canon. We would love it, but with that, I think that would hurt the overall.
I think Damian starting off in Brave and the Bold will be one of those edgier characters. Damian will some step up and use language and be that. He's going to be a really good Superman. You will not see it. We're going to get hopeful, bright Superman,
which is what I want.
Brave and the Bold will not be as dark as normal, but Damian will fuck shit up.
No, I'm good with that.
And Supergirl seems to be pretty dark too.
Yeah, Superman looks like a dark tone,
Supergirl looks dark. I'm gonna dig it. And Swamp Thing looks pretty dark, man. Because you said it's horror.
Yeah.
Creature Commandos, they're gonna be cussing.
I remember Swamp Thing being violent and dark, like violent. You know what I mean? And it was great.
That's the new or the current. The last Swamp Thing TV show was really it was like that. It was dark. It was bloody. It was, people getting blown up, people getting murdered. It was really good.
Yeah, that was good.
Death. Yay.
Now Waller's a trip to me. Now I knew Waller was going to be a series and they'll do stuff from Task Force X and but I was really expecting Peacemaker 2 at this point.
Yeah.
And knowing that's his baby,
maybe
because
he's talking. Turn into it.
Well, he's probably this probably turned into it, or he's too busy with Superman. Let's leave this for part 2 of second half of chapter 1. And get Peacemaker 2 in there, and he'll just show up a little bit in Waller.
Yeah.
The reason I brought this up is because it's the same Amanda Waller, so they're definitely playing them. That's what as one point I wanted to bring up. Flashpoint to me almost seems like they're calling it Flashpoint, but it almost feels more like Crisis on Infinite Earths. Because you're going to have Ben Affleck, you're going to have Michael Keaton, you're going to have all these different characters being played by different people. Yeah,
Zod,
exactly. Zod's back. If they brought back Terrence Stamp as Zod, holy shit, that'd be incredible.
How old is he right now?
A million? I don't.
Yeah,
care.
Exactly.
Put a wig on the man and paint up his wrinkles. It's all good.
Hey, de-aging software.
There you go. Look at Harrison Ford.
But some people are surviving this, right? So you're right. It's more like let's combine it into the one cohesive Earth.
And that's what he was talking about with Shazam, because he has left the door open for, and this was part of that press release. He's left the door open for Gal Gadot to reprise her role, Jason Momoa to reprise his role as Aquaman, and Zachary Levi to come back as Shazam.
Yeah.
So, and I believe he had said Harley a while back. Like he's with
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But if they're going to continue on with Zach Levi as Shazam, I'm in, because that Shazam movie was great. And the end scene, the post-credit scene on that, when Superman and Wonder Woman walk up behind him, I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. Yeah. He's part of this universe. And if they're going to keep him on,
it's a good thing they didn't show Superman's face.
Right?
Shazam,
they can put whatever
canon.
Anybody.
Right.
But in Peacemaker, you've got Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash showing up in Peacemaker. So
he left the door open for Flash to return.
Yeah,
which I do not get. It might be, and he said it's a great movie. And in the press release, he said it's one of the greatest superhero movies he's ever seen.
Wow.
Does that need to translate into this train wreck of a human being continuing on as the Flash? Can they still use those same creative teams and use a different person as Flash?
Yeah.
Because this kid is, I'm sorry, but this kid is beyond needing attention. He's
just switch him out for Grant Gustin, dude. Boom.
I mean, that's a good question.
Literally anybody else.
Now,
literally anybody.
Could Flashpoint do that? Like how would a Flashpoint movie look? I'm just like put theorycraft in this, right? Like, could we come out of a Flashpoint movie with a different Flash, meaning a different appearance of a Flash?
It didn't look,
or does it have to be the same?
It could, but from what I saw 4 different Ezra Flashes.
Okay,
that's the
problem.
Because
whenever they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing in the Flash TV series, Ezra Miller showed up with Grant Gustin, and they had a scene together.
Sure did.
Yeah,
and so they left that door open to where they could bring in a different Barry. And he said, "Are you Barry Allen? I'm Barry Allen.
Right.
I'm the Flash." He goes, "The Flash, that's a great name." And then Ezra Miller runs off. And that was the first time that, in the suit.
Yeah.
So
because this movie, The Flash, could usher that in, and then the one that ushered Ezra Miller could be gone, and then bring in a different. I mean, it could work. It's just
it could, but I don't think they didn't do that, because when they made it, they weren't planning on that.
They weren't planning on it, but I think that, but what James Gunn's comments was like, this movie is going to be the one that ushers in this whole thing. Now, not to have Flash in the future it will hurt DC.
Sense.
It doesn't make sense. It will hurt the overall, it just, you cannot have
it's hard.
But not having Ezra Miller, I think, is perfectly cool.
We can explain that away. Yeah.
No, that is the hard part. That is the hard part.
You think so?
Because he's the one that's going to cause the rift. he doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
He doesn't necessarily get affected in that because he's the one.
That's what I was asking. Like, can we have a Flashpoint movie and at the end have a different Flash moving forward in this DCU? You know what I mean? Like,
he's that part that the untouched. What do they call it? Yeah. Where it's the part you can't change.
He's the catalyst.
A fixed point in time.
Right.
You can't mess with that. And that's what he is.
Unless you just recast. I mean, and we just have to squint our eyes. You know what I mean?
Or you know what? It could be simple as a writing decision. You know, you look different. I don't know. They don't even have to do that. It's just he's done running. He stands up and he's somebody else, and they don't even need to freaking explain it.
Don't even explain it
because the way that the rest of the movie rolled with all the different Superman and all the different characters, there's no reason they would need to explain it.
Yeah,
fine.
Stands up. And he's Chris.
Yeah, just moving forward. Yeah, no. On one hand, continuity is important. James Gunn said continuity is important, but the other hand, real life thing. This guy cannot be in movies anymore. It's like, and this is the way to explain. It's the same character. It's just a different look. I mean, and we're gonna have to, like I said,
however they handle it, the change of characters in the show. They just going forward. That's how it happened at the end. You know, I mean. Yeah. Oh my God, Michael Keaton is Batman. Holy crap. Ben Affleck is Batman. Look, Ezra Miller. Oh, look, Joe Schmo.
Right. But like Chris's point, like Flash is the hardest sell because of that. You know, you're not bringing in multiple Batmans.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But
because Flashpoint, it's the same Flash that caused the Flash.
Yeah, but he's the one that has to deal with the fact that he jacked everything up. Right, like he's the one that caused Flashpoint, so it can't be
it's the same, right?
It's the same. It's the same character. It doesn't necessarily mean he needs to look exactly the same.
No,
it's still Barry Allen dealing with Barry Allen.
No. It has to be the one that physically did it. Not one that's still Barry. I see what you're saying, but I mean, we would have to actually recast him and just say it's the same exact Barry one. You know, it has to be that one because he caused it, and he has to have the repercussions from causing it.
Right. Yeah.
You know what? Time travel's a bitch.
It is. Like I said, we'll just squint our eyes and pretend it's the same actor.
Coming back to Amanda Waller, though.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember what they did with this character in Justice League Unlimited? Where it ended up in the far, far future that it was. She decided that dealing with the superheroes through all the time that she was alive, that she decided the world needed Batman, no matter how old Batman got. So she took Batman's DNA and used it to, I think they did an artificial insemination on Terry McGinnis's mother. And Terry McGinnis was actually the biological son of Bruce Wayne. And it was all because Amanda Waller wanted to make sure that Batman's the Batman line, Bruce Wayne's line existed going forward. It was so messed up.
I forgot which
loved it. Amanda Waller
I have it's got that storyline.
Good, even in that cartoon, dude. Amanda Waller is always a great character. And you know what? She's a great character.
Hate her.
Yeah.
You hate her.
Yeah, you know what? Again, Green Lantern screwed that up too. Waller in that one was not great. But she is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I told you she gave me chills, man. When in the Suicide Squad, when she was telling everybody to kill, when she was screaming, just had me, man. She's so good. So good. And the cartoon version, the one when she was even in Batman Beyond, that's the one right when she's talking to Bruce there too. That whole series phenomenal. She's a great bad person.
Yeah,
great bad person. That's it. She's the monster and God's a monster.
She honestly is. And she kind of says she is. You know, she has no problem saying she's the monster. Dude, I guarantee you at some point in this she'll call herself a monster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What about Paradise Lost? Are you interested in
that's cool.
Wonder Woman and the
it.
Amazonians like origins, I guess?
I feel bad that I'm not super excited about Paradise Lost and Supergirl. Seem to be the two quickest discussions here, and I feel bad about it. But I like it. I'm all in Themyscira. This is they compare it to like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. I'm getting mythological fantasy. This is what we were just talking about. We want fantasy, right?
Yeah.
This gives us some DC fantasy, Greek gods, really cool stuff. I'm in. This is if I'm going to get a Wonder Woman story and she's not Justice League right now, this is what I want.
That's what I'm saying. Some of this has to be origins. just has to. And I think going back pre Wonder Woman and the people like the Amazonians, like that's great.
Yeah,
let's get that origin.
We got such a brief snippet of it in Wonder Woman whenever the villain ended up being Hades.
Oh yeah,
and it was just at the end, Lupin from Harry Potter put on a helmet and boom, he was Hades. God, yeah. I want to see that war. I want to see the gods of the Greek gods versus the Amazonian warriors. And I think Hercules should be a part of that. And, Zeus, they should all be there.
I feel like I heard that was going to happen. I don't know why I heard that, but I thought I heard that was going to happen.
It makes sense.
Yeah, should.
They're all tied to the foundation of Themyscira. So.
So
let's do Zeus right this time.
The more we talk about it, I actually think this might be one of the coolest ones on this list. Besides the one we're going to talk about last, I think this was probably one of the ones that will sneak up on us and be like, "Whoa, I can't wait till next season of Paradise Lost." Because the thing is, we're going to have eons of time, to be able to play in this.
There's room for this. That's what you're saying. There's room for this, and there's room for this.
This is like Old Republic Star Wars. You know what I mean?
100%.
It gives you so much room to play with that it won't screw with canon at all. You know, and I'm in for that. That's cool.
No, I'm good. I'm good with it. I think why we're probably so short on these is because we're waiting to see, more stuff.
It's because I don't know a lot about Supergirl. I don't know anything about.
That's what I'm saying. There's not a lot of like Supergirl was always in the Superman.
I'm your Huckleberry.
World. Yeah, always in the Superman world. Like Wonder Woman had her world building, and all that stuff with the characters. That's easy, but to go, it's like a prequel to that. That's fantastic, and it could set up the Earth as we know it going forward too.
It should.
I think the comedy here is Booster Gold. The comedy is going to be.
Wait a minute. I'm kind of prepped for this. Hang on.
Okay, cool.
There's my guy right there.
This is. I have a it's fine. It has nothing to do with probably the show it's going on, but I have a comic book series, and I think it's in the Deceased or something like that, where Booster Gold comes back and he's predicting nothing that he's predicting comes true, and he's like, "What happened? Like what?" He came into like Superman's funeral, and he's like, "This was not supposed to happen." Like, where did I? Yeah, it was so
supposed to be here today.
Yeah, it's like this is not what you're because he was like, yeah, someone's gonna the funeral or this is supposed to be a celebration, not a funeral. It was great. I have to pull that out of the archives there. But Booster Gold is. I will. I'll get that out. It's fantastic. I like this character a lot.
I don't know a lot about Booster Gold besides the JLU episodes. And the JLU episodes were really fun, and I enjoyed them in there. So I was like, anytime they were talking about, wait, wasn't Booster Gold in Smallville?
I don't know.
Yeah, he was.
I feel like there was a weird
later
episode. Yeah, in the later seasons when it got a little odd.
Yeah,
like the Doomsday season maybe.
I think so. I think
Booster Gold was in Smallville.
I know they brought the Legion of Superheroes into it. And if they ever do Legion of Superheroes, that is my second favorite comic book right past Green Lantern is Legion of Superheroes. So if they ever do that, I'll totally fangirl out. But this Booster Gold is Michael John Carter. He is a janitor in a 25th century museum of superheroes who stumbles upon a Legion of Superheroes flight ring, which allows him the power of flight, and a time bubble. And he decides to take an almanac, kind of Back to the Future 2 style, his flight ring, a super suit, and the time machine to go back in time to win as much money as humanly possible and solve crimes he knows are going to happen because of the almanac.
He wants to be the hero because he's not a hero in the future.
He's a loser where he's from. He wants to be a winner here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Way to go, Biff. I dig it.
Yeah,
and he teams up with Blue Beetle all the time, and it's always the blue and gold show, man.
What's his name? His real name?
Michael John Carter.
All right. I never really realized it. I was watching a Big Bang the other day where they were making fun of, how Marvel does their names with the same letter. I never really talk about how DC does first names and last names as first names.
Oh,
like Bruce
Yeah.
and Wayne and Clark and Kent and Hal and Jordan. They can work either
Right,
way.
right.
You know, I mean,
it's
like
not like
everything-
true last names. It's
everything's a
names
first
yeah.
damn name. You know, besides Barry Allen.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
it's
It'd
kind
be
of
like Scott Chris Scott.
yeah, they do a lot of that, like a lot of it. So
Yeah.
sorry,
John
And
Stewart.
it all works. No,
Yeah,
it all
Jon
works
Stewart,
too.
Yeah, random
Yeah.
thought of the day. I'm so sorry. So move on.
No, that's good. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Marvel
I'm-
rhymes or not rhymes, but like same letter.
J. Jonah Jameson and Fing Fang
Right.
Foom and
Bing
you know,
Fang Foom. The
Oh,
worst of
God.
all,
Peter
Fing
Parker
Fang Foom.
Yeah, that's the episode.
Yeah, they're in line to meet Stan Lee. That's the
Yes.
episode. Yeah.
And then everybody else gets to my friend,
Yeah.
to Raj, Stanley.
Stanley.
Everybody
Yeah.
else is all Excelsior.
Excelsior.
Stanley.
You had to ask him that question, did you?
I had to
So-
watch the Star Wars. Sorry, we had to watch the Star Wars episode the other day with oh my God, James Earl Jones.
Oh yes. When
I
they
love
ding
that.
dong ditch Carrie
Carrie
Fisher.
Fisher.
Yeah.
Oh, I got all teary eyed when she came out, dude. I forgot
Aw.
about it completely.
I know,
when they
right?
went and
Like-
dinged on, I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
that sucked.
That's
Okay,
great.
sorry.
So,
back to
I-
square one.
I'm sitting here looking at it though, because Booster Gold, okay, so he's a time traveler from the future who knows what's going to happen in the past. He goes back in the past to try and stop crime. How could that tie into all this? Obviously, he would know what's going to happen. Is he the harbinger that comes in and tries to tell everybody this is coming? This is,
Sure.
this
That's
is
how
happening.
the comic books played out, right? Like not I mean,
Mm.
he never became like this to me it always seemed like he was like the know-it-all guy. You know, like he was always trying to boost that he knew it all. You know, I'm the
Mm.
information booth.
Not really.
No?
Does
Okay.
everyone know that he's from the future?
They find out. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but if
He keeps it pretty close to the vest. at
then I'm
first,
saying
but
that's why I would say he wouldn't be the harbinger yet.
no.
Okay.
Well, maybe yeah, I don't know. It's hard to figure out this because like what a TV, like it's a TV show. So what if like he comes back and it's not the reality that he's in, like I said, with that comic book that I have to dig up, and he comes back and things aren't the way these are happen in his world. The almanac
I'd like
that he's
that.
carrying is wrong, and that would be
He gets hit up in
Yeah.
Flashpoint while he's
Yeah.
coming. While he's
Yeah.
coming, the Flashpoint happens.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's
Oh.
alternate.
So he has an
alternate
almanac
Earth.
that doesn't work anymore.
Oh
Right.
my God, that's where the
And now he's
comedy comes
stuck
from. Yeah, everything's back. So he's here and he's a loser still.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and now
perfect.
he's stuck
Except
here
now
because
he's got
that
a
time
ring.
But now
split.
he's got
It's
and he's got the
Right.
technology from his time. That's it. So
Right.
he's got
And he's
what he
still a
brought with
loser.
him, but
Yeah.
he still doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he does have he's got his robot Skeets. Skeets is the know-it-all that has the memory bank and all that.
That's what I was. Yeah,
Booster doesn't think that he needs to know anything because he's got Skeets. I keep calling it an almanac, and that's stupid me. He's got Skeets, and Skeets was like an encyclopedic robot that came with him.
Yeah.
Skeets was all up in the DC online game. Do you remember that? Did you play that at all?
DCU online. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
DC Skeets was all up in that. Sorry.
I still play it, Chris. I love that game. It's a
I
great
do. I
game.
love that game too, but I
Yeah.
stopped that a while ago. That's
Yeah.
so funny. When do you have time, man? Good lord.
I
You
think
know,
I got to grab something here for our next bit of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stick that right there.
I'll pull out the lame one, the Ryan Reynolds one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I was gonna grab my Jon Stewart figure, but he's. I'll knock everybody down.
He's over there.
So, yeah, he's over there somewhere. But here's your guys. Like I'm proud. I'm happy for you guys. Now, are you happy that it's a TV show and what it was described as
Yes.
for the Green Lantern show? You are.
It is so different. It works. I can't wait to see it because I mean, essentially, Green Lanterns are the intergalactic police force of the DC universe.
I like that
You
it's
know,
called
you've gotta-
Lanterns. So
Yeah, you got a sheriff and a deputy in every precinct, which is every sector of the galaxy.
yeah.
Hal
Yep.
Jordan and Jon Stewart together.
It's perfect.
I'm-
We were like, who are they going to be? Is it going to be Hal? Is it going to be John? Is it gonna
Right.
be-
You guys
and,
had
and
that.
you got them both. And we're going to
I
get them
love
both
it.
for however many episodes, which is better than a movie because a movie's only going to be 2 hours.
Right.
Right? We're getting a whole series. It's going to be. They said he did say it's terrestrial, right?
Yes.
So it's going to be on Earth, but I'm sure we're going to get a little bit of throughout.
There's a quote, and I'll find the quote while you're talking.
Yeah. Okay. And then, I mean, it's the perfect setup for everybody gets what they want, right? I like Jon Stewart a lot, but I love Hal Jordan. So to have them both together, absolutely, positively, is what I want. It's like I want to see this like almost like Lethal Weapon, little less funny, but around that same type of thing, right?
Right.
With Hal Jordan being the one ready to retire,
right?
You know, and play it that way. And
here we go. Right, this show could be that, like you just said that, where Hal Jordan's in this show, but then if they do a Green Lantern movie, it'll be a Jon Stewart movie.
Yeah.
Doing what, and then the crossover and stuff like that.
That would totally work, especially when they get you to, they pick the right guy to be Stewart, and he becomes the head of the. Yeah, absolutely. That's how you kind of have to do it, I think. All right, if you're going to get a Jon Stewart movie, it has to start there.
Yeah.
Peter Safran described Lanterns as very terrestrial based and in the vein of True Detective, rather than a straight epic about space cops. But he also made it clear that Lantern plays a big role leading into the main story they are telling across all the film and TV.
Okay.
So, and these actors will appear in subsequent movies.
So the thing is, the space cops is key, right? There's a lot of space booster gold from the future. Space cops here. We had, wasn't there, got magic going on?
Supergirl is out.
Supergirl in space. Superman. Yeah, you figure it's going to be Superman villains, obviously. I would think Brainiac's probably the big one already.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was just about to say, like they discover, they're out there discovering this, and Brainiac makes the most sense, especially the in Brainiac's invasion force.
Yeah. If they want to do something totally different than what's been done before,
Brainiac.
Because nobody remembers the Krypton TV show, which was excellent, by the way. Krypton was great, and Brainiac.
Oh, I didn't watch that. Yeah,
great. Brainiac and Lobo were fantastic in that show. So, I'm telling you, that would be a great way to do something.
And
different.
And like I said, I think, like I said, the more I think about it, Darkseid is too familiar still with the Essentials or the Elseworlds, right? That's still a thing.
We only saw him for like 5 minutes.
We went to Superman and
I know,
Gods, but what about we do the Roy G. Biv? What if that's the piece, right? We start getting Lantern type stuff, and that's the mystery and something. We start going through the Red Lanterns, and instead of going, go that route.
I would love it, but I don't think you would introduce Green Lanterns at the end somewhere else if the Red Lanterns are the main villain. And are you talking overall?
Like that's what they're starting to later
the War
on.
Of Light.
Yeah.
Is that too convoluted though?
Or this has already kind of happened. We know that kind of exists in the background, and we go Blackest Night. And that's what the
you got to build
is.
Up the back. You have to build up the Blackest Night.
I feel the Blackest Night has got to be a spinoff. I don't think it could be. I don't think it could be continuity.
Could you imagine doing that though? That's something that would take
all
sorts of cojones, dude.
So
right?
yes, dude. Like I don't know. That has to be at the end.
It's Gods and Monsters. That kind of works.
It is, dude. Oh my god,
it does.
I think that should be a spin-off thing. I don't know if
I think that could be the end all, like end 2 movies to end it, like set this off, and
wow.
I would, dude, Chris, I would really like that. I would really like that. You put
zombies?
This in but like killing them all off and doing, come on. But that would have to be, that would just be weird. That would have to be like a reset, like a reset, right? Like this all goes to a head, end it with Blackest Night, and then you start all over completely. Flashpoint comes in. Here's another Earth, and then here's.
You're right. You got to get out of it.
It's too final.
You just have a Brightest Day. And
but
then
I'm cool with that.
Back out of it. You just come out with Brightest Day to start chapter 2.
Right, and I'm cool with that. But I'm cool with that.
What's after Gods and Monsters? What could chapter 2 be?
Yeah, heroes and villains. I don't know.
That's weird.
Angels
right?
and devils.
Angels and devils.
Oh, that's always something like that, right? I mean, it have to be.
Yeah, chapter
Get a
1,
Justice
Gods and
League Dark with that?
Monsters.
Unicorns and
Introducing-
puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's if you look at like this whole like this slate kind of deal, it's like the like what makes the most sense to introduce a world, like world building, right? Because this is this characters that you're introducing, and the first one is Gods and Monsters, meaning there's two sides, they're being split. Here's the bad guys, here's the good guys, and then here's these things going forward. So like chapter 2 could be the start of a conflict. You know what I mean?
So
like
we're kind of introducing everybody in this world here, good and bad. We'll learn most of them.
The sides are the sides are set. You know, we have the good and the bad, and now let's get the conflict. This chapter 2 could be the start of the actual conflict of
the formation of the Justice League.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to have Legion of Doom. We got to have Justice League.
Because you know what, you do that because in the end, both of them have to get together to fight Darkseid.
Yeah.
Right. That should be the way it works. You go with those guys for a while. Leave Darkseid the hell out for a while, or Brainiac the hell out. Either one.
Yeah.
And leave it for the end. And you're right. Build Legion of Doom and Justice League, and eventually get to the point where they have to team up to beat.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be intense.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor and Superman, Sinestro and Green Lantern.
Oh, dude, we're going to get a yellow Sinestro. Dude, how do you beat Mark Strong? Do you just bring him back?
I would.
Could you?
He was perfect. He was totally the only good thing in that whole goddamn movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I like a couple parts. I just think it was underdone for how much money they spent. Every building was white, and that bothers me. But anyway,
wrong choice of characters to play Hal Jordan. I thought that Oa looked like it was a destroyed planet. It didn't look like the
you're right.
Hub of an intergalactic police force.
Looked fractured.
Everything was too dark. Again, Kilowog.
That's what
animated.
DC.
I liked Kilowog.
Elseworlds were like Wonder Woman was too dark. Justice League is too dark. Superman, Batman versus Superman, all that was like just a darker...
When we say we want movies dark, I don't mean the actual.
We want the tone, not
the
actual tone, but
I don't want to have to
energy,
my contrast and my brightness.
It's not, exactly. This is not when we say dark. It's not the contrast.
I want somebody's head getting chopped off in full color. That's all.
Like when I say like superhero movies become too earthly and grounded, meaning they take the suit and they act like there's something that can actually exist. It's like I don't want that. I want like I said. Let's get the constructs of Green Lantern. Let's see the stuff happening around them, and
I hope they take a note from Jeff Johns, like the good notes from Jeff Johns when creating this, where it's like they describe how John Stewart's constructs form, and that he's an architect. So you can actually see the inner workings of everything as it's constructed. Yes. Kyle Rayner, whenever he builds something, it's like it's drawn from paper, and takes form there. And Hal Jordan, all of his are military based because he was a pilot.
Right.
Yeah. Jets and shit.
Makes sense, right?
Down home America, baseball, big old gloves and stuff. But the thing that was lost in that movie, other than, having Ryan Reynolds, I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's great, but he's not Hal Jordan.
No.
All the constructs were like a deep, deep forest green. It's emerald. It's supposed to be bright. There's supposed to be a glow around everything that lights up the screen,
The colors were definitely off. It was that part.
What they did is they wrote a movie around Ryan Reynolds rather than vice versa. You know what I mean? Like
But we'll fix that. It would be cool if he shows up in Flashpoint, though.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I think Flashpoint is the movie you can make fun of everything and just kind of start.
Dude, if you're bringing in Keaton, man, you might as well sneak in everybody you possibly fucking can, right?
Let's put in a Clooney Batman.
You don't think Ryan Reynolds would do that as just?
Oh, Ryan Reynolds will do it, dude.
In a heartbeat.
I don't, because he makes fun of it on a daily. I mean, he's
every film he makes fun of it. He will think that's hilarious. He will come in just to kill him off.
I think he's actually pitching that. He's pitching it. You know what I mean? He shot himself from reading the script in Deadpool. Remember? Was it Deadpool?
I take it back. Sure, bring him back.
He shot Ryan Reynolds for getting the script.
Dude, and that's what's gonna happen in the Deadpool Wolverine movie. Since he did that, the Time Authority.
Right.
That's why Owen Wilson's in it, because he's gonna come after him for the Deadpool 2 stuff.
Oh,
and that's
crap.
what
Yeah.
can you imagine? I can't wait when they said Owen Wilson's in it, and that all took form. That's going to be the greatest. After that,
Wait,
I might be done.
They said Owen Wilson is going to be in the
Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool 3.
3.
Yes.
No. Okay.
So the Time Variant Authority is going to be after him because of what he did at the end of Deadpool 2.
Yeah, he shot him. Went back. And
so
shot
he's got to come after Deadpool somehow.
Oh
you want us theory? I want to theory craft the shit out of that movie.
Yeah.
And that's how he's going to get Wolverine there. So I'm imagining while he's screwing with time, somehow he pulls in Hugh Jackman, and here comes Owen Wilson.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
that'd be awesome. Right?
I'm so happy about that movie. I could share. and I'm telling you, I'm so done with the MCU, but Deadpool 3 has me ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in Quantumania. I want to see that because it looks better than anything.
Shit, I'm sorry.
We did. I mean,
and let's go with it because that's.
Here's the thing, too, right, guys?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the difference between, and honestly, I think the difference between like the hardcore MCU fans is that they're only MCU fans. You know what I mean? Like when we talk comic books, we blur the lines with a lot of things. Like we go DC, but we'll talk Spider-Man. We'll talk, MCU. We'll talk, like I said, Deadpool. Right in the
we're well versed in all of it.
Yeah, well, it's not like Star Wars versus Star Trek where there's a solid ass line.
Yeah,
like Scott is just weird, right? But I mean, besides that, but it's not like that. There's not a line between Marvel and DC. I just happen to prefer DC by a fair amount. But I mean, I 100%. Prefer DC.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, we could talk both worlds, but I think a lot of like the MCU fans, they won't even look DC's way for some reason. They think it's a competition. You're winning. Almost like all right, you got it. And but this,
it's almost like they feel like it's not worthy of their attention. It's
right.
So. If it's not Batman, they don't care. Batman's like the only one they'll go see a movie to.
Yeah, and it's shameful. Not shameful, but it's like, hey, you should. Like I made a comment on a Facebook post. I'm like, the guy was just bashing the lineup, and I was like, wow, you can't just sit back and just enjoy movies anymore. You have to bash every aspect of because you're not into that IP, then it's wrong. Like I'm not into Star Trek IP, but I know it's got its place. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna bash its existence. You know what I mean? I just won't. I just don't. I
it's
like
not
more
your
fantasy.
Cup of tea, man.
Well, I like more fantasy. I'm a sci-fi fan, but when it becomes too real, I don't. That's just not my preference. But I appreciate its existence. Let's put it that way.
I've enjoyed the
Star
MCU.
Wars wouldn't exist without it.
Yeah. No. Well,
without what?
Agree to disagree.
Without Star Trek.
Agree to disagree.
Star Wars would not exist without Star Trek. And vice versa. The movies would not exist. The Star Trek movies
That's
would
a
not
bullcrap
exist if it weren't
statement,
for
but
Star Wars.
that's whatever.
It's not.
It is 100%. There's nothing in Star Trek that nothing besides aliens and there's nothing that Star Trek offered that Star Wars picked up on. George Lucas stole nothing from Star Trek.
He stole it off from Buck Rogers.
Stole anything.
Yeah, but
he actually Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and the Kurosawa movies and all of that, but there were certain aspects of just fucking move on, man.
Where were we?
This is a podcast. We can't just drop things like that. This is what we do. So, George Lucas gave no credit to Star Trek ever. Anyway.
Whoa.
Now I'll move on.
MCU. Yeah, I know. I enjoyed MCU for a long time. It just got to the point where it's not so much watered down. Like feels like they're stretching. They don't have they lost their cohesive plan, or at least it's not very visible to us.
You're on third string quarterback. They're on third string player status right now.
And they shouldn't be because they haven't even touched the Fantastic Four or the X-Men yet.
I think when they hit that, it'll be their second wind, right?
Yes.
They're just right now. They're kind of biding time and getting this. Again, I think
they're trying to keep the train, the money rolling and stuff like that. Because Phase 4 is really doing nothing for us impactful. Yeah. Phase 5 might usher in the Fantastic Four.
You know about DC right there, and something I know I sound like an ass every time I say this. But I complain about the MCU and the way the everybody has a female counterpart, right? Or have to be a show just to show they're inclusive. I think the DCU right there just did it very well without even calling it out, and that's important. I think a lot of times, right? Supergirl, I didn't hear one complaint about Supergirl, and I didn't once until right now. Just thinking about it, about what people are going to say about this, I didn't consider. I'm going to get a cool Supergirl story. They explained what it was. It sounded cool. I'm freaking in. Right, Waller.
Yeah,
I'm already in on Waller. That was simple, right? Wonder Woman in there, and there's a mix inside that of all those teams. So I think they did a really good job on this introduction, not going to a sausage fest off the bat and having to correct later as much as MCU had to overcorrect. That's kind of what I was getting to the point, right? Because in the beginning you had all dudes and Black Widow.
Yeah.
Right? And now we've got a better mix in here, and I think it's a nice setup to where the MCU right now is just overdoing that part of their world, and I don't think the DCU will have to do that ever. It can just stay nice and even throughout.
Yeah, because Disney has a reputation of to protect or something like that, and so I think Warner Brothers sometimes doesn't care that much.
But I think they did a good job on this one. I'm saying I'm trying to give credit without sounding like a jackass, right? But it's like they did a good job on it without calling it out, without saying we're doing this or doing that. They just did it. It looks clean. It looks like it should be evenly inclusive.
Yeah, no,
really.
I agree. I agree.
It's a good,
especially
layout.
with the Authority.
Like I said.
To me, the odd duck in the lineup is the Authority, but it's on how they use it. That's going to be interesting to me, is how it's utilized.
It's weird to have a superhero team if you don't have the Justice League.
Yeah.
So.
Especially knowing that there's a big bad coming in the whole bit, you would think that this would be the team that you build everything around. But even in the current DC universe, Superman runs the Authority. Huh. So he's behind the scenes running the Authority. I wonder if that's the route they want to take with this.
To start that way and kind of build into the other side, or could these guys be kind of rogue and they need to bring a couple big dogs in to kind of chill them and then
with like Midnighter, that would make sense. Yeah.
So then you get Batman and Wonder Woman or whoever you're going to bring control these guys, and then Superman is kind of their overseer from now on.
That's what they've been doing this whole time is creating this cohesive world while we suffer through the Elseworlds, or what is it called? Elseworlds.
Elseworlds. Yeah.
So
do you think there's a danger of running out of villains before we get to the Justice League, and I don't mean run out of villains, right? But like I think like Marvel has a problem besides Loki of keeping that interesting.
Using
like blowing their wad all at once.
Because you're using the good ones, right? That's kind of the point. You're going to get through a lot of really good ones in these movies and shows when you do this.
It's kind of hard not to, right? I mean, when you have such a long-term plan, you kind of want to keep people's attention, and if you hit them in the face right off the bat, they're going to pay attention. But you do run the risk of overextending your stay. And that's where, like, if you just had, like, say, Galactus come through MCU, I mean, it's cool and everything is different, but it's the same thing. It's the climax resolution, another 10 years, and it's just bringing another dude. And, sometimes, like, to me, as somebody who's not in that business, right, I'm like, let's give me those 22 movies and move on to something completely, because you already did it. And now we have that, like I said, we collect it, we put it on our shelf, and we move on to another IP. But they're not in that business, right? So DC... it's like you should go with the powerhouses in front, but not all of them, because you got to keep people's attention through that 8-year, 10-year plan.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to extend it for another 8 to 10 years, what are you going to do? The same thing, or
no, you're going to bring in Calendar Man.
He'll
take out Superman. The Rainbow Raider. Like, he'll take him down.
Like, this would be cool to say if James, I mean, I'm speaking for myself. If you said we have like this 10-year plan, and this right here, this DCU is a standalone DCU universe that we created, and nothing is going to be past that. If you want to do it, it starts all over, something completely different. And now you have this 10 years as DCU. He didn't call it anything yet, right? Like, it's just a DC universe, right? It wasn't. So anyway,
it's chapter 1.
Yeah, chapter 1. But I think there's gonna be like 3 or 4 chapters in this whole.
And then call it a volume, and then move on.
Yeah, like I'm sure until there's mankind making movies, I'm sure there'll be Batman movies and Superman movies. I don't know if they'll all be connected to this moving forward. Yeah, so it's like
so you mean like call a definitive end and restart with a new vision?
Just like if we end this with Blackest Night, that would be a definitive end, and then continue and like, you want to make another Superman movies another 10 years, completely different.
Yeah, so there's no reset. It's just we're taking a break now. See you in 5 years. We're starting over with a new,
and then a whole another universe that they create. And I mean, why not?
Okay, I mean, with that.
Yeah, right. See, that's the problem with MCU. They can't do that now because they've already exhausted all their heavyweights, and now they're at these third strings storylines. And besides X-Men and besides that,
third string with those,
like that would be the X-Men.
We're getting some big stuff now. There's gonna be great. They just loaded back up, man. They can go for another 20 years. Probably.
They were in such a lull though that I was.
That's where
trying to get through
if they didn't acquire X-Men and Fantastic Four, they would have been in a heap of trouble. Because I mean, how many more? I don't think Ironheart's going to work. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, how many more Thors can you make? Thor cannot carry a franchise.
Not after the last one, dude.
Especially not after the last one. That's so bad. So, anyway, guys, I think
I want this slate. Now we have a slate. We have seen slates before.
Yeah,
we have seen those slates implode or disappear or move into obscurity.
Scott,
I don't want to see a goddamn thing removed from this fucking list.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
like I said, this is a different company we're dealing with. This isn't Disney. This isn't this is Warner Brothers, who basically have everything. They got nothing to lose anymore. You know what I mean?
And they brought in somebody I think really wants this to do well and can make it well and has a whole story in his head where he wants it to go and an outline, and
there's passion there. And
I think he'll hold him to the fire, man. And explain. I think he'll explain. Here's the deal. He has his ear to the ground with all of us. He can explain to the execs that are so far released, no, man, this is what needs to happen, and I'll do it this way. Back up off me. He'll explain it. And that's what people aren't doing right now, is explaining to the uppers that this is what's not going on. That's probably why they hired him. So people would just stop saying, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, it does seem like it was Gunn and Safran that actually pulled the trigger or pulled the plug on Batgirl. From the looks of it, what I read today was that they had seen it and it was unreleasable. That it wasn't just a financial decision, that it was completely and total.
Shame on them.
It would have, quote unquote, ruined the careers of the actors involved in it. It was that bad.
Shame on the creators of that. Seriously, we don't like we have this complaint about like Star Wars sometimes, right? Like nothing should be mediocre on the screen that we should be seeing. Leave that for other things to do. I'd rather not have something rather than have something crappy. And
looking at you, Vespa Squad from Boba Fett.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez, you had some good ideas and you had some bad ideas, and none of it should be bad ideas.
Yeah, ever.
So, like, to me, as a moviegoer, I say shame on the creators of Batgirl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That should never even have that's just bad. Wait, that's just bad. Like, I'm very disappointed in that, but I'm have faith in this. I've been waiting for this direction for DC, and we'll see. We don't know when. When the Flash movie comes out, that's the start of it. So yeah,
sort of.
Is that this year still?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah,
I don't know what the release date is on that.
It's in the next few months.
Is it?
And do we know? Maybe the answer is there. Do we know that all those TV shows and anime, they're all HBO Max, or is it going to be a DC?
I think it was HBO Max.
Okay.
June 16th. June 16th is Flashpoint.
So it's the kickoff of this.
We got Shazam next month, I believe.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And then after Shazam, then it's Flashpoint, man, and we're rolling.
Yeah, that's the kickoff right there.
I'm excited for Flashpoint, even just because I want to see how they play this. I want to see the mix of characters. I want to see. I know we know about Keaton, and now I'm sorry if I spoiled it with Zod, but I'm hoping we get some other stuff. Like I said, I wasn't really joking about Ryan Reynolds. You bring Ryan Reynolds in, that's cool. You bring Brandon Roth in, that's cool. You bring Grant Gustin in, that's cool. Roth is, right? I mean, Stephen Amell earned a spot in some kind of show. If you're gonna cross over Green Arrow in there, it'd be really cool to pop that off, and you can really screw with Brandon Roth as Superman and the Atom.
Oh, you could. Well, they did that in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. They had Brendan Routh on there. Yeah, he reprised his role as Dark Superman, like Superman, where everything has gone wrong in his universe. Yeah. But Stephen Amell in the DC TV show, he's the Spectre. So yeah, you could totally bring the Spectre in. Oh. They killed off Green Arrow and made him the Spectre. So
I'm so lost on those shows. Like, started, so lost.
And as the Spectre, what he does is he walks around in a green jacket and spouts off magical bullshit.
That's not
so
right. That's not right.
No.
I remember the Spectre being something different than that.
The spirit of vengeance who conjures up scissors and chops people and cuts people in half with scissors that are evildoers. I'm like, that's this. Whenever I saw that he was going to be the Spectre, I'm like, oh, and then they did it, and I'm like, this is why Marvel fans make fun of DC.
Yeah, because there's material that you can pull from. You don't have to make it up yourself.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think let's get out of here. That was a great Beyond the Pit. We haven't done one of these in a long time, and I think it's perfect timing. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, Chris, for joining and talking DC, man. It's always good to talk something other than Star Wars. Not too much. Star Wars is life, and everything else.
Some other stuff just pops in once in a while. We got to get out
every once in a while. So with that, of course, there's Star Wars and there's everything else. And this is the everything else section of it. So catch us on our, of course, YouTube, like and subscribe if you haven't. So follow us on Facebook, our Sarlacc Digest Central on there where the conversation continues because we go all over the place. Join us for other shows like this where, we'll do line talk issues. We'll do Moochers Mondays. We'll do hot topics with Chris, fleshing out our geekdom and fandom. And it just kind of goes beyond that. So with that, if you guys have nothing else to say or anything, we'll just get out of here until next time.
All right. Omega is not force sensitive.
No. Okay. We'll see. I'm not writing this stuff, but I'm identifying it.
He identifies